Hello and welcome to another interview special here on the Coaching Network. You are listening to me, Matty Roper, and I'm joined by the former head coach of the Great Britain Paralympic seven-a-side football squad, Lyndon Lynch. How are you, Lyndon?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks, Matty. How are things with you, okay?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Just to begin with, obviously you've worked in disability sport for a number of years now. During your time being involved, how far has it developed?
Yeah, it's amazing the development that I've seen in disability football, thanks mostly to the support from the Football Association. When I started working with players with learning disability, although they were an England team, they were actually run by a charity and supported by the FA. But now the FA have put in talent pathways for all disabilities, and young footballers from primary school age have the opportunity to participate at local level, progress onto regional centres of excellence, and then also represent England or Great Britain in the Paralympics. And also the Premier League are supporting disability football through their inclusion programmes. So it's a lot better than when I first started in '99 and I was having to take home the kit to wash it.
And your first contact with special needs students came in the 80s when you were lecturing at Kingsway College during your time as a PE teacher. What did you learn back then?
Yeah, that was a great time, actually. I really enjoyed working in FE, and I think that the main thing is that, as a PE teacher, I learned very quickly on how to adapt my lessons so that every student could feel some sense of achievement. In schemes of work nowadays, you'll find the word differentiation right across embedded in those schemes of work, and it's all about making sure that every student gets something out of your lesson. Well, certainly back then in those days, differentiation was a very important part of the work that we were doing, and it just gave me great pleasure as well to know that young people were able to participate fully in all of my PE lessons.
And obviously during your time teaching PE, you would have taught various sports, but predominantly you've been involved with Paralympic soccer or football, and that's also becoming more prominent and well known, isn't it? How important is this for the game?
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly, obviously, since London 2012. I mean, before that, as I said, the FA, great programmes in place to promote disability football, but getting it out to the public, getting the information out, getting parents aware, getting school teachers, PE teachers and primary schools aware of the opportunities available for young disabled footballers, that's always been a bit of a problem. But yet, since the Paralympics now, young people that I coach, that are 8-9 years old, they have role models in the form of players like Emil Rudder, a local East London lad with cerebral palsy, who's now going to Rio and representing Great Britain in Paralympic football. So it's been brilliant for, if you like, promoting opportunities for young disabled footballers.
And for you personally, what has it been like coaching Paralympians? I'm sure you had an overwhelming sense of pride when watching them compete.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I get pride every Saturday coaching locally, but yeah, I mean, standing in front of 80,000 people, walking into the Olympic Stadium in London 2012, or in Beijing into the Bird's Nest, was just an amazing experience. Very proud, very emotional, and at the same time, not just myself, but the coaching staff and the players recognised our responsibility to the nation and how important it was to stay focused and do our best, whilst at the same time enjoying the experience.
And a fact that most people won't know is that you're actually the only manager to win a World Cup in England since the famous triumph in 1966. What did that feel like guiding your side to such an achievement?
It was amazing, absolutely amazing. The fact that we'd got together, we'd only been together a couple of years. The FA had drafted a disability football development plan in which they had a target of winning a major trophy within the 10 years of that plan, and we actually achieved that win in 2 years. It was amazing for the players and the staff to go all the way to Japan. We played in the Yokohama Stadium 5 weeks after Brazil had beaten Germany in the World Cup, and I went over on a recce before the competition, and I was taken by the officials into the stadium, and one of the changing rooms was locked, and I managed to persuade them to open it. It was actually the Brazil changing room for the World Cup, and all the players' cubicles had photographs of players like Rivaldo and Roberto Carlos. They were all autographed, and they were perspex over, and they were obviously going to keep that room closed, maybe use it as for tourism. But I asked if we got to the final, could I give my team talk in that changing room? And the officials laughed at me because they didn't think we had a chance, but said, yeah, of course you can, thinking we'd never get there. So, of course, when we got to the final, I insisted that they open that room, and the players sat in those cubicles and, had their photos at first, got over the excitement, but then sat in the cubicles, sitting next to a photograph of Ronaldo, 9, while I gave my team talk. And, it was probably the easiest team talk I gave, but because they were so inspired by the previous champions, and we went out and beat Holland 2-1, so it's an amazing experience.
So that's a fantastic story as well, and hopefully plenty more to come, obviously, with the Paralympics on the horizon now. What are your predictions for this year's Paralympic squad of footballers? Do you think they can replicate that success?
100% they can. This team is so strong. The new coach, Keith Webb's done a wonderful job with the players. They're well prepared. Again, Jeff Davis, performance director of the FA, has given the players every opportunity, every support to make sure that they'll go out there 100% ready. Obviously, with the Russians, who are world and Paralympic champions, being excluded recently, then that gives us another chance of meddling, because that's that's the strongest team out of the competition. But regardless of that, I think this CP squad is the strongest Great Britain squad that we've ever had going into the Paralympics, and I wish them all the best.
And during your time, obviously, managing and coaching the Cerebral Palsy squad, are there any variations in training those players to perhaps able-bodied players? During your time managing and coaching the Cerebral Palsy squad, did you notice any differences in the training between those players and perhaps able-bodied players?
No, I don't think technically you have to adapt to your coaching sessions, whether working with mainstream players or players with disability. You're looking to find a balance. Obviously, there's a difference in that CP football, cerebral palsy football, is 7-a-side. Players with learning disability play 11-a-side. So you need to adapt that in terms of tactics for 7-a-side football. But in terms of coaching the players, even with mainstream players, you can have players within your team of varying abilities, and you need to adapt your coaching sessions appropriately for that, to make sure everybody understands what outcomes you require, and to also make sure that the players are enjoying the work that you're doing with them.
And how can we integrate cerebral palsy players into grassroots football from an early age?
Well, I did a paper for the FA a while ago on talent ID, and I think the key is working with schools. You have to get in. The county FAs have to get into schools, get into school sports PE associations, and work with local sports development units to ensure that, firstly, the opportunities to play football are recognised by the parents and teachers, so that they can send their kids along to, if it's just a come and try sessions, just a participation session. But they need to start. It's like, a great example of Martin Sinclair, who played for us in London 2012 and played for England. Scott Sinclair's brother, now Scott was talent ID'd at the age of 8 because that's how mainstream football is structured. But Martin wasn't talent ID'd, and I assure you he is a very talented footballer. He wasn't ID'd until he was 15, 16, as a cerebral palsy footballer. Now, things are much, much better now, and young players are being identified at an early age, because the FA have set up player development centres, impairment-specific player development centres, and centres of excellence. But I still think there's a lot more work to be done, and as I said, particularly with schools and getting in schools and the young players going into their PE teachers and saying, well, you know how to identify your mainstream footballers and how to signpost them onto district teams and county teams. What can you do for disability football? What can you do for the young lad with cerebral palsy, the young partially sighted player, the young player with learning disability? Do you know where you can signpost those? And when they do, when that's happening in schools, I think we'll be much, much stronger.
And just finally, what would you say to the people that are perhaps listening who have a disability or any special needs but want to get involved with sport?
Well, as I said, that firstly, contact your PE teacher. I'd say shame your PE teacher. Ask them where you can go to take part in impairment-specific sports, whether it be football or whether it be any sport, swimming. Ask your PE teacher, because I think that is a key part of their role, identifying opportunities, out-of-school opportunities for young people to participate. And then beyond that, in terms of football, contact your county FA. I work with Essex FA, and they've been brilliant in supporting the work that I do locally in Barking and Dagenham. And they, if your county FA, the county FA will have the information to guide you, to put you in the right direction and find your nearest local club. And lastly, your Premier League club. You'd be surprised at some of the great work they're doing. I work with the West Ham United Foundation, and they've been absolutely amazing in supporting the work that I do in terms of pan-disability football. And there's someone out there. There are opportunities out there. It's just trying to get that information out to parents and kids. And it's a lot better than when I started in '99, that's for sure. But we've still got a long way to go.
Anyway, thanks for that message, and obviously we appreciate you coming on for the interview. All of us at the Coaching Network would like to wish you all the best for the future, and yeah, thank you once more.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and thanks for spreading the message and supporting the work of disability football. Thanks very much.